Availability £4.95 postage and packaging. T's and C's apply.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with James O'Brien.
4 minutes after 11. So a little bit more, I think, on the vaccines and the cautious suggestion that if your employer says you can't come back to work until you've had one, there's A, not a great deal you could do about it, and B, not a great deal you should do about it. With that little objection, sorry, maybe little sounds sort of sniffy, but with the, it's a circumstantial objection about timings, i.e. if you're in your 20s and you're being told you can't come to work until you've got a vaccine, then you are in a sense being discriminated against compared to a colleague in their 50s or 60s who are going to get the vaccine long before you do, weeks before you do, 10, 12 weeks I think, possibly. I don't, just looking at some of the responses to the see it really, and I don't think anybody who's listened to the programme, which is the problem of course with provocative clips, could see this as tiptoeing towards totalitarianism or anything like that. Well, unless of course Pimlico plumbers are at the front rank of the Khmer Rouge and no one's got around to telling us, because they've already announced that they're going to insist that all of their 400 contractors get vaccinated before they start work again. It just seems to me that some of the and I'm not going to use the F word at this point, not today, but some of the environment we've created really does crowd out all light in pursuit of heat. So the list of countries that had mandatory BCG jabs in Europe is, I mean, it's breathtaking actually for those of us who haven't really paid attention to this sort of thing before. It is, and I may have misspoken earlier, because oddly, although it has a not applicable next to it, so it may be that the United Kingdom is a different, I don't know why that is. I thought the United Kingdom was in on this, so if it wasn't, my apologies. But if you look at the list of countries that have had mandatory BCG vaccines in the past, I can run you through it. Just European countries: Austria, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Bulgaria, Croatia. God, I miss the Eurovision Song Contest. Anybody else? Czech Republic, Denmark, Estonia, Finland, France, Germany, Greece, Hungary, Ireland, Latvia, Lithuania, Moldova, North Macedonia, Poland, Portugal, Romania, Russia, Turkey, Ukraine, Slovakia, Slovenia, Spain, Sweden. So if all of those are totalitarian regimes, and one or two of them are, I grant you, but if they're all totalitarian regimes, then you've got a great point. It is perhaps a tiptoeing towards a totalitarian regime. But if you currently don't believe that Norway is now or has ever been a totalitarian regime, or indeed Denmark or Croatia, or all right, Austria, a little trickier, but depending on when you actually set the clock by. But I don't think in the post-war period, all of these countries that I've just listed have had mandatory vaccines without tiptoeing into totalitarianism. It's just a given, isn't it? Joseph's in Stroud. Joseph, what would you like to say?
Hi. Well, you've kind of taken the wind out of my sails on this one, because yes, essentially the only kind of real problem I can see on this is that if you're 50, you could be out in the field in kind of, well, 3 months or so.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're 20, 21, if everything goes exactly to plan and nothing goes wrong, maybe 6 months, but as soon as something goes wrong or there's a hiccup in any way, you're so far down the list it could be a year that you sat at home. That's one. And then the only other thing I can think of which potentially is a problem is the contractual piece, which is covered in that you would essentially be discriminating against younger workers of the ages. You'd be discriminating against younger workers who are unable to get the vaccine because they are younger.
And this is the government have expressed concern about this. They sound like fixable problems. I mean, in the first...
Mountable about this, it's just yeah, that's really kind of the only
And I'm very flattered that you think I have in some sense already dealt with them, but the two wrongs don't make a right argument applies to the young person's one, because you wouldn't, just because young people can't get vaccinated doesn't mean you should open your doors to people who can get vaccinated but haven't.
Yeah.
That's a problem, isn't it? I would say it's a 12-week, it's a 20, what's the maximum? You said 3 months, 4 months? Or more?
No.
It's more, is it?
It's more, and if anything goes wrong, it could be a lot more.
As in, if one of these mutant strains dips under the vaccine.
A factory blows up, or
blimey! All right, Chuckles.
and stuff happens.
No, I know. Listen, I'm being very irrational with vaccines. I'm not ready yet. Hopefully by the end of this week I will be. I can't have an objective conversation about vaccination, some elements of vaccination, because I just need something to be going brilliantly. So even you mooting the vague possibility of a factory blowing up gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Look, it is going brilliantly. Like,
exactly.
It's one of these things, I'm on tenterhooks, looking like, this has been going good for too long.
Yeah.
I'm sitting twice shy kind of stuff here. Look who's in charge. Right, if it keeps going great, good, but,
No, I get it. I get it. So but they are, if you like, it's not intellectual objections. They're detailed objections rather than principled or philosophical ones. I'm doing my own ifs and buts, pots and pans, need a tinker's bit now. But if the vaccine was immediately available to everybody, the philosophical question of whether or not employers should have the right to tell you that if you refuse it, you can't come back to work, seems to me to be close to a no-brainer in that theoretical universe where everybody has full and immediate access to immunity, if you like, or vaccination at least. I think there's, yes, but of course we don't live in that theoretical universe. In the universe we actually inhabit, if you worked for Charlie Mullins over at Pimlico Plumbers and you didn't want the vaccine, or you did want it but you couldn't get it, then your much older colleagues are going to be going back to work long before you are. And that feels unfair, but what's the alternative? Either none of you go back to work, or you let unvaccinated people go back to work. So I'm going to go for the lesser of three evils on this one. The discriminatory, temporary discrimination against younger employees, right? Or anyone can go back to work whether they've been vaccinated or not, right? What was the other one? Is it the lesser of two evils or the lesser of three evils? I can't remember, but the point is it's a temporary discrimination versus a permanent risk. At least I think it is. John's in Canterbury. John, what do you reckon?
I'm a bit of a dichotomy here because I am retired now, but I was an employer of people in the past.
Okay.
And I would be very reticent about taking on people who haven't had the injection. But
yes,
coming at it from a slightly different angle, and I don't know how bad your dread of injections is, but I suffer from a condition, I think it's called something like pantriophobia. I don't just fear injections, I have an absolute